Hi, and welcome to A Better Place. On today's program, we will be speaking to a very young and inspirational young person of St. Martin. Her name is Erica Kanagita. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
It's a wireless system. Cable WTN. Go digital WTN. With local TV channel 10. Call and make a date. 542-5898. Down by overseas building, Ruby and Star waiting. 48 channel, fasting with plenty more coming. News and sports from all over. Novella, Creole and Patois. Local thing is priority soon. Papi Menton, Taki Taki. WTN channel TV 10. We'll always be your friend. Check out the scene, we have the best rate. 542-5898. Hey man! WTN K1.
Hi, and welcome back to A Better Place. As I mentioned in the intro, we will be speaking to a very young, inspirational St. Martiner, none other than Miss Erica Kanagita. Erica, welcome to A Better Place.
Thank you, Angelique.
So Erica, you know, you've been seen quite often now in St. Martin as being very inspirational in terms of the work that you're doing. But before we start talking about that work, tell us some more about Erica and what Erica has been doing with her career.
Okay, sure. I have my professional background is pretty extensive, I would say. I have experience in tourism, in the hospitality industry, in sales and marketing, and most of my career was spent abroad, but I did move back to the island recently. So I do have that, that knowledge, but what I've done is put a lot of the experience that I have in terms of sales and marketing, and I have used that into the nonprofit foundation that I started.
Okay, so you've been abroad for quite a number of years. You had your primary school background, was that here in St. Martin? Tell us a little bit about...
Yes, I grew up on the island and I left at a young age. I left when I was 16 years old to complete high school in the U.S. And then afterwards I went to college. I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. And post-college I moved to New York, into the big city. And I lived in New York since 2000, so I've spent 13 years in New York City. The city is a great city to live in. You learn a lot, just as an individual living in such a major, city in the world. And the experience that I got was amazing, but I just decided it was time to move back to St. Martin.
But what prompted you to want to stay in the U.S. and not come back home once you were finished with your studies?
I wanted the experience, and I have a lot of friends and family, and I have a network, in the U.S. as well. And I always knew that St. Martin was there; it wasn't going anywhere. I always knew I wanted to come back home. It was just a matter of when the timing was right. So I feel that I had gotten a good depth of experience, and I had reached to the point in my career where I felt like I had done a lot, and it was just my time to come back home.
So you mentioned that you moved from D.C. when you completed your studies and you moved to New York. The job that you started then, was it working with St. Martin? Because I know that you also worked for St. Martin in New York.
Yes, I did.
Was that the job that you started immediately, or that was something that happened after?
Fairly immediately. After college, I worked at an African-American advertising agency, which was a great experience. I learned a lot about advertising and sales and marketing, so that was my first job out of college. But then a wonderful opportunity came to represent St. Martin in the New York office for the St. Martin Tourism Board. So I spent a good few years working there, and that was the launch of my career in the tourism and hospitality world. So. That was a great experience as well.
And what was your function? What was your job description working for the tourism department? Because you worked for St. Martin in New York.
Right. I worked for St. Martin in New York, so I ran the New York office. It was myself and Linda Cox, who's actually on my board for Be the Change.
Right.
She represented the north side of the island, and
Right.
I represented the south side of the island. So we managed the New York office, and we were in charge of all the sales and marketing activities for the U.S. and Canadian market. So it was a lot of hats to wear, because it was running an office, but it was also being the face of St. Martin, and you know, meeting with the consumers and the trade to you know, represent St. Martin in a good way. So it was a lot of work, but it was a great experience.
How do you do that? Because we know that St. Martin is a great destination, and I'm not only saying that because we're St. Martiners, but it's second to none in terms of what we have to offer. But how do you sell St. Martin when you're abroad doing what you did?
Well, it was an easy sell, because you know, when you're from the island, you're obviously passionate about the island, and who knows the island better than you?
Right.
So for St. Martiners to represent their island and their culture and what the island has to offer, it's very easy, of course. I'll be honest with you, it was a bit struggling. It wasn't all peaches and roses. It was a little difficult because of the tools that we needed to market ourselves in a grand way. Unfortunately, St. Martin does not have, or at that point in time, did not have a big tourism budget. So we kind of had to, you know, make lemonade out of lemon, you know, do the best what we had. So that was a little bit challenging. But overall, it was a great experience, because for me, I'm, you know, I'm passionate about where I'm from. And, you know, we just had to be, it actually was interesting, because you become a little bit more strategic when you have limited tools and limited funds. So you become very creative in terms of how you can market the island or the destination to your best ability with what you have. You know, sometimes if you have a grand old budget, you can do 1,000,001 things, because the world is, you know, it's easy. So it was a little bit challenging, but nevertheless, I think we did a great job of, with what we had, of putting St. Martin on the map.
And how do you do that? Because you're based in New York, but we know it's, 51 states. How do you sell St. Martin to each and every state? Is that how it's done, or you focus on a particular market that you want to attract to come to St. Martin?
All of the above. The Northeast, you know, the whole corridor from like Boston down to Miami, let's say, the whole Northeast is the market for St. Martin, as well as the Caribbean, because those are the ones that travel, especially in the winter months. The West Coast of the country, it's a little tougher, because on the West Coast, if you live in California, your tropical destination is Hawaii or the Fiji Islands or something. So yes, we marketed the whole United States. However, we had to be very particular in where you put your funding into what region of the country that makes sense to market. So I was literally on a plane like every week, if not every other week. I was either in a plane, a train, a car, any kind of transportation. And it was great, because I was young, I was out of college, and I saw the whole country. I did extensive traveling, so I will never forget that, and it was an amazing experience, but it was also very tiring. So after doing a lot of traveling, it kind of wears on you. But yeah, we did the whole country, but we just had to be very strategic in the ones that we place more attention to.
Right. Okay, well, Erica, we're already at our first break. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about, you know, what made you become so interested in giving back and, you know, being that inspiration that you are to young people in St. Martin.
Okay.
Stay tuned, we will be right back.
EBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Hi, and welcome back to A Better Place. So Erica, now we want to talk a little bit about you and when you came back to St. Martin, you know, how you actually became involved in being such an inspiration to others and wanting to help others. How did that come about?
Good question. I mean, we all, how do you say this? We all sit at the, you know, at the dinner table, in the kitchen, you know, at a party or what have you. We all congregate, we all get together as people, as St. Martiners, and we talk about what's going on in our country, right? We all do it. And it got to a point for me, myself, that something just came over me. I can't explain it, but something just came over me where one day I just said, you know what, I'm kind of tired of just sitting and complaining and talking about it because, you know, St. Martin is a beautiful place, but it's not perfect, as we all know. There's, we have our issues. And it's like, you know, if you have a house, if you have your own house, you need to take care of your house, right? You need to, you know, clean up, and you need to make sure that it's in a good, livable condition for you and your family, right? You have to kind of look at St. Martin the same way. St. Martin is our home, right? So, you know, we are the ones that have to take care of it. So if we sit down and, you know, you're at a party and you're with friends and everybody's, you know, complaining about government or what have you,
Right.
about things that are going on in the country, after a while, to me, it kind of gets tiring because we can complain all day, but we have to kind of pull up our socks and, you know, make a difference.
And I really have an issue with persons that talk about all of the problems, but never
Talk
try
about the
to think
solution.
about a solution.
Exactly.
You know?
I have the same problem. You know, we can talk about the problems from day till night, but it's a matter of strategically thinking and getting like-minded people together and really come up with, you know, I'm not saying that we can solve all of St. Martin's problems or solve all of the world's problems, but if you at least start to make steps towards that initiative, you can start to make a difference in the community. So, you know, it just came from the fact that that's the type of person I am, where I said, you know, I really feel like, you know, I'm back home now, and I really feel like I have to, you know, help make a difference.
And while you were in the U.S., were you ever a part of any foundation or organization that did similar work that helped in the community?
Good question. To answer that, I wasn't necessarily involved in a particular organization, or like I wasn't part of a membership or anything like that. I kind of spread my wings here and there because, you know, in America, growing up there and living there, giving back and philanthropy and, you know, volunteering is a big part of the culture. You learn it from a young age.
Right.
So, you know, I would be involved in different initiatives here and there. I wasn't necessarily like on a board or anything,
Right.
but I had that experience. And so this is my first venture into my own foundation. But, you know, I just, you know, doing a comparison, you see, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen in St. Martin, but I do feel like we can, you know, make a bigger step towards becoming more of a volunteering and a giving back culture.
But you know, like you're talking about that, I remember when I just came back as well, and I really, the same as you, I guess, wanted to give back, and I wanted to join an organization that really meant something to me, that I felt that really could do with my help. So I joined the Safe Haven Foundation, and ironically enough, we had a lot of volunteers and that people that actually gave up of their time to actually spend time in the shelter with the inmates, with the clients, and to help. But in St. Martin, a lot of people don't want volunteers as much anymore because they feel if someone is not paid for their time, you know, they tend to lax and they tend to not give and show as much interest. In what you're doing, do you have this similar feeling, or has your experience been different?
You know, we have done a lot for my foundation, Be the Change. We have done a lot of research in the community because we help other nonprofit foundations, right? So upon speaking with a lot of the foundations, we ask them, you know, what are your issues? What do you need from the community? Where are we lacking, you know? And a lot of them would say that, you know, that they have like their usual team, so to speak, like their usual volunteers who dedicate themselves and are you know, great people in the community, but it's a small select few. And you know, we have a lot of room for growth in terms of more people being volunteers, because these foundations kind of rely on these, you know, let's say 4 or 5 individuals that do help, but they do need more help, you know. And it's just a matter of I think educating the community and, you know, increasing awareness of what these foundations need. so that people, know that, even if it's 5 minutes of your time, it helps. It's something, and you don't have to always have to give financially. You can dedicate your time with all these different initiatives and all these different causes. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, and we realize that, but at least I feel like we're trying. We're trying to educate the community about, the importance of giving back. Because like you said, somebody shouldn't volunteer their time and be a little resentful or, because they're not getting paid, then you're not doing it for the right reason in the first place.
Right.
And my take on that is that, we, in general, people don't want individuals like that. We want individuals to give back because they want to and they feel like it's their civic duty to give back. So.
But one thing you said that I think is very important, and that, we should strive to see that happen in St. Martin, is that it should become a part of our culture.
Exactly.
Because a lot of persons who are well off in the society, I've had them tell me, well, why are you always volunteering, and you don't get anything out of it except stress, and you're always tired and you're always on the go. But I always tell people, I see my blessings in threefold in a different way.
Exactly.
It might not be financially, but you never know, that might come.
Exactly.
Because God has a way of blessing us.
Exactly.
But if it's not embedded in you from young, it's kind of difficult for when you get older for you to actually be able to do it. And I think that's why it's very important for us to instill that in our youngsters. The importance of giving back and the importance of volunteering.
Very much
because
so.
once they start at a young age, then when they get older, it will be easier.
Exactly.
So
I believe that too.
that's my whole take on it. But that's why I'm saying that you're a great motivation for others. And when they see you out there, a lot of people aspire, but they might not know how to go about it. So what was your experience like starting up?
Well, exactly what you said. We feel, for Be the Change, we feel that there are so many people, exactly what you said, that they want to give back, but they don't know how. And what we've been able to do is provide a platform and provide the tools so that we can help increase awareness about these different causes on the island, and increase awareness of how you can give back your time and really promote philanthropy on the island and promote a volunteering culture. So there are, I think there are people in the community, actually I know there are people in the community that do want to give back, but maybe, they have a family, they have 2 jobs, they're trying to just make ends meet, and they literally just don't have the time, and a lot of people also feel like, okay, well, let's say the corporate community gives back, that's their job, that's their initiative, I only literally have $1 to give, so what's the sense of giving $1 because my dollar doesn't count? And what we're trying to do at Be the Change is, it's a membership organization where people give money on a monthly basis. And it could be $1, it could be $100. So we want people to feel inclusive. So even if you can't afford more than $1, you better believe that that $1 contributes to the other person's dollar, and collectively, it's a big pot. So I think when people realize that, even though their contribution is small, it still counts.
Somewhere along the line when I was younger, that whole thing about a penny and so came into play. But we have to take a break. When we come back,
Okay.
We'll continue discussing more on that.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We will be right back.
When I say Xerox, I know what you're thinking. Transit fares, as in the 37 billion transit fares we help collect each year. No. Oh, right. You're thinking of the 1.6 million daily customer care interactions Xerox handles, or the 900 million health insurance claims we process. So it's no surprise to you that companies depend on today's Xerox for services that simplify how work gets done, which is pretty much what we've always stood for. With Xerox, you're ready for real business.
Hi, welcome back to A Better Place. Erica, we've been discussing, how you went into your studies, a little bit about you, and actually what made you want to give back and what made you actually become the motivation that you are right now for other people in St. Martin to want to give back. So now let's talk a little bit about how you can use your marketing skills and your sales skills to actually motivate others who might want to give back as well and might not have the same target group as you have or that I may have to actually get started?
Okay, good question. The avenue that we've taken for Be the Change is, in terms of sales and marketing, is using social media to our advantage.
Okay.
In terms of sales and marketing, the best way, is to market a product or market a organization via social media. It is the most powerful marketing tool that's out there right now. So we're very heavy in social media, and we're very proud of that as well. And we've been using that platform in terms of raising awareness about what we do and raising awareness of what the organizations that we support and what they do. And we've been getting a very good following, and it's growing, and we're really proud of that fact. There's different avenues that we do as well, but really we put a big focus into social media. And we're basically, our initiative is trying to showcase what we do and make it cool, quote unquote cool, for the youth and for the younger kids as well. To make it appealing and fun and funky so that the younger people in the community look to us as a young, innovative foundation that is not, for lack of a better word, stuffy, and that we're cool and that we are including them,
Right.
and that we are coming up with new and innovative ideas and using social media, using Facebook, using Twitter, using Instagram, using Vine, using like all these new and up and coming technology that we're learning,
Right.
on a daily basis as well, and really integrating that into the youth community and, targeting that demographic as well.
So that would be a way then you would advise those who want to get started with a foundation
Yes,
for
very
whichever
much
purpose
so.
to, start getting it out there via Facebook
Yes.
and using the social
Yes,
media.
very much so. There are organizations. There's a lot of organizations on the island. Some are dormant, some are very active, some are more social media driven than others. And what we are trying to do as well is kind of consult these different organizations as well and try to encourage them to also be, social media driven. We, promote them, so we do that, on our end, but we really want to promote that they take that initiative and really promote themselves as well so that the St. Martin community is aware of what they're doing and what their causes are.
Yeah. Before we took the break, I was about to say you were talking about, that every dollar counts. And with Safe Haven, that's something that we've been pushing as well because indeed people feel that, well, I don't have all of this money to give. But what I was going to say is that, when I was small, I can always remember watching a particular program where they motivate you in terms of how to spend wisely and save, and where this person actually was saving pennies. And eventually it became a large sum of money.
Right.
And for some reason, growing up, we've been made to believe that a penny doesn't matter. So I think that's where that comes now into play with people where they feel, well, if I don't have it, if I don't have 10 or 15, I can't
Exactly.
give. But indeed, every cent counts.
It does.
And if you were to save all of the pennies that you think when you tell in the supermarket, no, keep it, or, you will see how that can make a difference indeed. So, so that what you were saying, definitely makes a difference, a dollar. And, because I wouldn't say everyone could afford a dollar, but it's a lot easier to give a dollar than to give maybe 10.
Exactly.
So that is definitely something that can work for the various organizations.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you said that, the social media is a way for them to, be out there and be in the face of the community. But something that you talked about, you mentioned that, being funky and hip for the young people to want to get involved, because I still feel that even though that some of us are out there on Facebook and so on with the with our foundations, that the young people are still not as much interested. So what can we do to get them more motivated, you think, and inspired to want to help?
Well,
Besides that,
first of all, a project that needs to happen, in my opinion, and it's something that is on our wish list, and it's an initiative that we want to take on eventually, is really instilling it, like you were saying earlier. These kids need to be instilled from a young age about the importance of giving back. And unfortunately, in our community, there are only a select number of schools that have a requirement in the school curriculum that you have to fulfill
Community
a certain amount
service.
of hours of community service, and it's a requirement to graduate. I came from that background as well, living in the United States, so that's a big part of learning. You know, kids don't, learning is not only about books and you know, by the books and the typical academic curriculum. Learning as an individual is seeing the world and giving back to your community. So that needs to be instilled into the school system, in my opinion, more. And then the kids will adapt it, and I think it will become part of their DNA some more.
Well, Erica, you know, we've come to the final segment and the final minute of our program. So when we go into our second part of our program, we're going to be talking about your initiative, the Be the Change Foundation, and then we're going to go in depth into that and how it got started and what you're doing in the community. So thanks so much for having been a part of A Better Place. And in our second segment, we talk about Be the Change. And to you, the viewing audience, I would like to thank you for having been a part of A Better Place. Stay tuned as we bring you part 2 with Erica Kanagita as we discuss Be the Change Foundation. I am your host, Angelique Rameau.